Welcome everyone to another video of What If Civilization Started Over again. And today we are looking at what the Europeans have done. Yeah, the European countries. And what Carthage is doing because they have plans. And other countries as well. We'll first go over here where we will see a move made by the Golder gold-like country, Yemen, basically because their capital is in Yemen and stuff. We'll see the Yemen country make a move that will result in them gaining a bit of land over here, a bit of extra as well, because well, extras are always good. And the Omanis will also be the center, basically, of this new trade route that has emerged, basically. And they won't build a trade route through here. There's no one to trade with, but it is a quicker way to get into the African areas if you just don't want to go by land or sea. Well, you just need to go by sea, actually. Over here, we're seeing a few new trade routes, like one that popped up over here, and another few that popped up over here in Europe. As you can see, we have two hubs emerging, and this will cause, oh my god, this will cause in the exact spot that we're looking at currently. We'll see that there's a major city in both of these areas. There will be more major cities that we will see, and I'm dotting a few around because, well, some major cities just popped up out of nowhere after a long time. Like these two popped up. There was another one that popped up over here, another like two over here, and another one over here. So the population is growing over here. Over here we're seeing our first inner African Saharan, thing, and then we have the first few major cities that are on the borders, basically. We also see Libya gaining 3 more major cities as their population has just boomed a bit. They are having a population boom, and we're seeing Syracuse having also a similar thing with them gaining a few more. Like their first 3 major cities. We just see the entire population of Sparta. Some stay in the rural areas, but most go into the urban center, which culminates in their capital. And we're going to see 3 more things happen, and that's even more capital cities. But we're gonna see that the yellow country just stops helping to build this. They just want to keep their nation as they are, which isn't going to be quite well liked, but what can you do about it? And we'll see our first few new capitals pop up, and the first one will be over here in the economic center, basically, of the world. The economic center will be in Constantinople because it's like in the middle of many crossroads. Like from here, there's like 2 that go into this, another one that goes through that, 2 more that go into this one, and then into that one, and it just culminates in a lot of stuff. We're gonna see these Italian countries gain their capitals, and we're gonna see Syracuse, or the 2 Syracusans, get their capitals. We still no capital for this guy, but we are going to see a lot of more stuff that will happen, like this guy getting their capital. And I think I'll put this guy's capital right here because they're more they like coastal areas more. than inland areas. But so he will see that our population centers are now visible more, and we have our first expansions. How about we now go into our full-on expansions into Europe? We'll see that around the mountains over here, we'll see a lot of Europeans just start to explore the mountains. Some just don't really do much, except just stay in the little spots that they are. And a few groups actually manage to reach up over here, and when they come back, like turn around, come back, they tell everyone, oh, there's a sea up here. And people just start to arrive, and a few people's going over here will decide that they want to settle over here, and we'll have our first, I think, brown colored nation soon. But we'll see that the yellow country will eat up its little friend over here, and it will also explore into these areas. Also expand a bit. The yellow country will expand into these areas, but when it does this, it gains a lot of people. A lot of people tell it to stop because they don't like it, and it just continues going up here without listening to its people. It reaches Estonia, like the central parts of Estonia, before hearing that, oh, something's going on over here, and that's a rebellion. Some farmers over here decided that they wanted independence. Well, actually wanted to join the Danube, but due to some problems, somebody didn't let them, and they really wanted to stop the excessive, like, know-how stuff. They don't want a lot of people to just go away from the farms and, not do work and not feed the population, because without them the population will starve. And the yellow team knows that, and as soon as the yellow team sees that they have started to, bulge in this area, they cut them off in two spots. In one spot they just push back the rebels a lot, but they don't manage to fully push them out because, well, the supply lines are around the trade routes, and as you can see, the farmers are managing to hold on, but not for any long. We also see this one being the second one to fall after their whole center area gets destroyed, and they get cut into pieces and destroyed one by one. Like, there's no category for this. And the rebellion is put down but successfully. Now we see the yellows. Oh my god, damn it. We do see the yellows managing to get into these areas and expand greatly, but what will happen again is another rebellion. This time it's gonna be in Crimea, as the Crimeans feel like they're being ignored, and, well, same with these guys over here. They don't want to be ignored, and they want to be put into the front lines over here, but they're not being, so they're gonna revolt. And since this is the capital center of the empire of the yellows, well, the Crimean nation, we see basically a lot of people just agree with this guy, and they just, do stuff. Unfortunately, people from this area just start to leave their homes and stuff just to go on and fight in these areas. So yeah, these get unclaimed, as nobody lives there anymore, and some areas just completely just lose their claimed status. And the fire over here and plague causes the complete collapse of, well, these areas. So now they're known of, and the plague is over here. People just don't go over there anymore. And after a lot of time, we see this being the, well, these guys, whole nation, and the Yellows and the Crimeans make a compromise, and that is that the Yellows gain back these areas and the Crimeans get their independence. And the Crimeans are like, yeah, we got independence, but they just don't know that their brethren are getting forced further to do stuff because, well, one area decided to go away and declare their own nation. And once the world recognizes that this Crimean nation exists, and the Yellow nation is just doing stuff that it shouldn't do, the world just gets mad. Very, very mad. And we see another rebellion. And this rebellion, oh my god, just is, yeah, over here. And the rebellion, well, it's like the Crimeans. It just gets a compromise, and it's, well, this time the Yellows give up on the southern parts of the nation, because they have just managed to reach what you could say is Northern Estonia, and they sent people to occupy and be on this area. And when they started to go over here, they found out about these islands, and they just decided that they wanted these islands, and yeah, they landed over there. We'll also see that the Yellows will just push over here, and most of the population will just subtract into these areas, and those that are left behind just are allowed to, well, yeah. Eventually we see something like this happen, where we have a string of nations, and the Yellows are going to also just explore these areas, and due to them having this strip of land, they are able to explore and colonize, as you can say. Well, most likely just settle these lands. Not colonize, just settle. Also, there's a large lake here, and a lot of large lake all the way over here and here. So, yeah, you could just say something about that. But what we see happening is that the areas around Riga are discovered, and then the Yellow team just, yeah, they just take these lands and say, okay, these are ours, we are now Estonia, just leave us alone. And a few countries will just be like, okay, from one of the biggest nations to one of the smallest, Estonia kinda became the only place they were. Also, these guys managed to somehow trick these guys into rejoining them, so life for them isn't good. But what we see now is that a group of people will go over here, wanting to reach the sea that I think is over here. They reach a river, and then they go over here, and they reach these areas. And it's just so, well, good to stay around here that they just decide to stay there forever and not even go back to their own homes. Yeah, that's what they do. They never go home. Nobody knows what happened to them, and search parties are sent out to them. And the search parties find out that yeah, we have the Dutch here now. So life is good. We're also gonna see the purples, or Carthage is going to push this way, and it's also going to discover more of the Iberian coast and settle the coast that it found. And it's going to also declare to its people that it will force some people to go over here while others don't need to, and those who are forced are going to be the peasants. No, I'm just kidding. Those are the aristocrats, and they're going to have their, well, the banished aristocrats that were, well, banished from their own countries. Just, well, yeah. And Carthage is going to take up a lot of the lands over here, and we're also going to see this Italian country going to expand a bit. They're going to expand into these areas, and they're also gonna expand over towards these areas, which will be quite wanted by them because they want a bigger coastline. And they also want to connect up to the brothers over here. Speaking of brothers, we see the Cyan team popping up over here, and they will pop up around these areas, and they will quickly just connect up with the three nations over here. So we have the Cyan team over here, just existing. Also we have a war, and that's between you can guess who. Yeah, not these guys, these guys. Why was this war, why did the war break out over here? Well, because one country's princess didn't want to marry one country's prince. Yeah. And we see the war going good for these blue guys until they get told to stop by this guy, who then tells this guy to just become part of it, and it will protect it. But it just doesn't work, and well, this little blue guy just declares that that was a bluff by the blues, and the blues just decide that it would be better not to. Well, yeah. We're gonna see this country over here be technically mostly occupied, and we're gonna see these parts going over to our good of friends, who still don't really care about these lands. And yeah, this is the only war that happens in this video, except for the breaking up of these areas. We'll also see the Estonian country push and cut off the Horn of Latvia, which will be promptly discovered and will be declared a good spot for people to, well, go and settle by the yellow team, aka Estonia, former Crimea. Well, we're gonna see the yellow team just expand quite massively over into Latvia, and it's going to be the dominant area, dominant faction in over here, because it is a faction basically. That's because it kinda made its own alliance right before annexing these guys, and it has an internal alliance between aristocrats. So yeah. Also, it sends people to discover more of Finland and Karelia, and these areas are discovered, and well, as you can guess, the yellows really want that land, just because they really want them. And we see them just barely stopping before they reach Well, they did reach Kaliningrad, but they won't go any further. Okay, only a bit further, but they will stop around there. And this lime country, slime color country, we'll see them being quite slimy and slime around here, because well, they are slimy. They like to slime. Also, they are going to discover most of these areas, and they're going to also settle these lands. And for this country over here, they're going to focus on over towards Russia, the areas around Russia, and they're going to discover all of this land, and they're going to settle most of it. Well, they're gonna have a few spearheads into these areas where they're going to settle, and the spearheads will culminate in a final push to settle these lands, which happens quite quickly, as they just settle most of these areas before anyone else can, and then they become basically the biggest. They are basically Kievan Rus now. Kievan Rus. Duck. Kievan Rus. We are good. But we're going to see them stop around here when they try to go over here, because they don't like this, and they're gonna stop. And then we have the Reds just expanding a bit. Well, first discovering these areas, and then they're gonna expand only a bit. Yeah, only a bit. They're going to take these lands because, well, yeah, who said they couldn't? And they're going to connect up to Crimea. Oh, there's a small yellow team remnant. I'm gonna just keep that over the red team. Just imagine, just place whatever roar again around it what you want, because I'm not gonna make roar about it. We are going to see the green team again as Caspia. Caspia wants to go around the Caspian Sea, and they will eventually send people over here, and they will discover that Caspia is in fact not a ocean, but a sea, and they're going to encircle it. Well, entrap it fully. And it's around this time that we see something happen within this guy over here, because yeah, our good old friends are getting eaten, as you can say. They're actually not gonna get eaten. They're just gonna get puppeted as their leader gets assassinated by a red team soldier in a peace talk, because one of the these guys soldiers decided that it would be funny to try and assassinate the red team guys. And it wasn't quite taken that well. We do see that some lands are going to be given over to this guy, who is going to in turn promise to not interfere with these things. And why is this land significant? Because the UAE area is fertile, and you can do stuff around there. Also, Libya is going to do something, and that is just they're gonna send people somewhere, in particular about nowhere, and that particular thing is going to be around this area. And why? Well, we have Libya setting up a colony around Monaco, and this will be known as the Monaco stuff. And we'll see that this will be the only Moroccan thing that will happen over here, and this will promptly break away from its parent state. And we also have, again, another discovery being made, and that is about these islands. And you know who discovered them and is taking them. Yeah, Carthage. But this is about the end of this video. I'll see you guys next time, and bye.